Hello friends, welcome you all to this video series on saluting women in history. Generally speaking, when India was not independent in those days, people fought for the independence as an Indian, but not as Hindus or Muslims or Christians or Sikhs. But when we look deep into the pages of history, every community played a prominent part for the attainment of independence from the clutches of the British imperialism. As we have celebrated 75 years of India's independence, the Christian community has reasons to legitimately feel proud of its contribution to the nation. Even though occupying 2.3% of India's population, Christians have in a significant and unique way contributed to its development. Do you know the very first one to oppose the British rule was a Christian priest? Yes, he is none other than Charles Freer Andrews, a priest from the Church of England. A Christian missionary, educator and social reformer in India, Charles Freer Andrews became a close friend of Mahatma Gandhi and identified with the cause of India's independence. He was instrumental in convincing Mahatma Gandhi to return to India from South Africa, where Gandhi had been a leading light in the Indian civil rights struggle. Similarly, Barrister George Joseph was a strong participant in the Home Rule movement, and another popular person named Titus G participated in the Salt Satyagraha of Mahatma Gandhi. The Christian missionaries also gave full support to the nationalist cause, for which they were even deported from India by the British government. In spite of this, there were numerous Christians such as Henry Louis Vivian de Rosier, John Francis Pinto, Joseph Baptista, Jerome Saldanha, Morris Shrestha, Felix Albuquerque Pai, Thomas Alvarez and Josim Alva, who involved themselves in the freedom struggle, and in fact the contribution may be far beyond its numbers. George Thomas, a well-known church historian, maintains that the Indian Christian community played an influential role in India's freedom struggle. It is important to state here that in the Congress session of 1889, among the 10 women delegates, 3 were Christians, namely Pandita Ramabai Saraswati, Mrs. Steinbach and Mrs. Nikhambe. There are records of active Christian participation in the Swaraj movement, the non-cooperation movement, the civil disobedience movement and the Quit India movement. Therefore, the Indian Christian community has made disproportionate contributions to the Indian freedom struggle and many other causes meant to uplift the people of India. However, the contributions of Indian Christian women to these struggles are often ignored or forgotten. This video seeks to highlight the lives and accomplishments of 15 Indian Christian women who dedicated their lives in fighting for Indian independence and advocating for social justice or helping to build the institutions of a newly independent India. Pandita Ramabai Saraswati. She was the founder of Arya Mahila Samaj and dedicated her life to promote the cause of women's education and rights. In 1883, she traveled to the United Kingdom where she converted to Christianity and was particularly inspired by the 4th chapter of the Gospel of John in the New Testament. During a severe famine in 1896, Pandita Ramabai traveled through rural Maharashtra on a relief mission, rescuing thousands of vulnerable women and children. Ramabai was also involved in the Indian independence movement and was one of the 10 women delegates to the Indian National Congress session held in 1889. She was a prolific writer and literary scholar. She authored several books and also translated the Bible into Marathi from its original Hebrew and Greek. Ramabai's contributions as a nation builder, devout Christian and women's rights activist have earned her many honors. She was awarded the Kesari Hind Medal in 1919 for her community service, which has been recognized by the Episcopal Church with a feast day on April 5th in their liturgical calendar and has had commemorative stamps and roads named after her in India. Kripabai Satyanathan. She was born to Haripant and Radhabai Kishti the Hindu converts to Christianity in Ahmednagar, which was then in Bombay Presidency. Her father died when she was still a child and she was brought up by a mother and elder brother. She was one of the first Indian women to write in English and certainly the first woman novelist in English from India. Her book Kamala, the story of a Hindu child wife, was published in 1884. She was the first Indian woman who wrote the first autobiographical novel in English entitled Saguna, a story of native Christian life, which was published as a series in the Madras Christian College magazine in 1895. Kripabai wanted to become a doctor and joined in Madras Medical College in 1878. Her academic performance was brilliant from the start, but due to strain and overwork, she had a first breakdown in health a year later. Then she was back at Madras, where she met and developed a friendship with Samuel Satyanathan, the Reverend's son. In 1881, Samuel Satyanathan and Kripabai married, and soon after Samuel got a job as headmaster of Breeks Memorial School in Ooty. Kripabai was able to start a school for Muslim girls in Ooty. She died in 1894, and in memory of her, the Madras University offers a medal in her name to women students studying English, while the Madras Medical College offers a women's scholarship in pharmacology for higher medical studies. Cornelia Sorabji. She was the daughter of Reverend Sorabji Karseji and had a series of firsts to her credit. She was the first female graduate of Bombay University to be admitted to the Allahabad High Court. In 1889, she became the first woman to read law at Oxford University. After returning to India in 1894, she played a key role as India's first woman advocate. Cornelia Sorabji helped over 600 women and orphans to fight legal battles, sometimes charging them nothing at all. She was also involved in several feminist organizations like the National Council for Women in India and the Federation of University Women. Though she was against westernization, she strongly believed a reform was needed to eliminate negative cultural practices like child marriage and the alienation of widows. Since 1902, she began petitioning that female legal advisors to be created in order to represent women in the provincial court, and her efforts finally bore fruit in 1924 when the legal profession was open to women in India. She got retired in 1929 and left to live in England, but frequently visiting India until her death in 1954. Leelavati Singh. Born to Indian Christian parents at Gorakhpur in Uttar Pradesh, Leelavati Singh earned a degree in English literature from the University of Allahabad in 1895. She went to become one of the first Indian women to become a professor of literature and philosophy at Isabella Thoburn College. While teaching, she devoted her energy in inspiring her female students who belonged to the first generation of Indian women to receive a modern education and to take advantage of all opportunities they received in order to achieve their full potential. Leelavati Singh served as the chairperson of Women's Committee of the World Students Christian Federation and also edited a women's newspaper entitled Rafiqi Nizwan. Realizing the importance of Indian Christians developing their own indigenous literature, she dedicated herself to the translation of Christian works into Indian languages and was a strong admirer of the African American intellectual Booker T. Washington and translated his biography for publication in the Indian Christian newspaper Kanka-i-Hind. Leelavati Singh's life was cut short by post-surgery complications and she passed away at the age of 40 while on a speaking tour through the United States. Leelavati Singh Dormitory as Isabella Thoburn College was built in her honor. Constance Premnath Das. She was born into a Punjabi Protestant family and completed her education at the University of Allahabad. Constance became the first Indian woman to serve as the principal of Isabella Thoburn College. She dedicated herself in securing admission fees for poor and underprivileged people, organizing for donations and providing information on scholarships. Constance continued this work even during the difficult times of Second World War and helped many Indian students to pursue their education. She also worked for the expansion and modernization of university education in India. Constance was also a strong supporter of the Indian independence movement and became notable for her extremely progressive views on education, such as holistic model of learning, which strongly emphasized the responsibilities and duties of the Indian graduates towards working to build up their country. She believed that when students from different religious and cultural backgrounds study together, it will promote an atmosphere of tolerance and cooperation across the communities that would be vital for India's success as a nation. Dr. Gurubai Karmakar. She became the second Indian woman to graduate from the Women's Medical College of Pennsylvania in 1886 and returned to India in 1893. Her medical practice was dedicated to providing care to the poorest and most marginalized people in Indian society. She also played an instrumental role in providing medical care during the famines and during the plague outbreak of 1916. Dr. Karmakar also spoke openly about the evils of cultural practices such as child marriage, discrimination against the widows, and casteism. Following her retirement, she donated her personal wealth to open the Dr. Gurubai Karmakar wing at the Lincoln House in Bombay. We have come to the end of this first part. The remaining Christian women national builders will be dealt in the second part of this video, which will be published very soon. Thank you for watching.
Please like, share and subscribe to this channel.